pumped today to return to the great sport of gymnastics with an esteemed guest. Now, she has had an amazing career in the sport. I'm talking a World Cup silver medalist, an Asian Championship bronze medalist, made her Olympic debut last year in Paris. And outside of that, I'm just saying this right now, a social media star. If you want to look up Olympic athletes right now and their presence on social media, our guest today is one that you need to look up right now. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome to Off the Podium, Levi Jung-Ruivivar. Levi, welcome to Off the Podium.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. Also, I just noticed you were wearing a Third Watch shirt.
Well, that's where I was going to start off perfectly, and I'm glad you noticed it straight away because I think you might be the first guest I've ever had on this show where I'm wearing a T-shirt of one of their parents on me right now, because if people are watching this on video right now, I'm going to point to this one right here. This is Levi's dad, the esteemed Anthony Ruivivar, who, along with your mum, are on my favourite TV show of all time. So I wanted to start off with that because this is a weird interview in a way that you are the daughter of two actors from my favourite TV show of all time. So let's start off with that.
It's kind of crazy.
It's probably the randomest way to start an interview because, I mean, we're going to talk about your athletic career, of course, Levi, but you are the daughter of two pretty good actors. I mean, does this come up much? Do people talk to you much about your parents outside of your athletic career?
I feel like they do, honestly. I think when people find out that my parents are both actors, they just bombard me with a bunch of questions. And I mean, I think they're really interested in that part of my life. And then they're always like, oh, so that means you must be good at acting. It's just in your blood then. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe I've done some acting before, but definitely nowhere close to what they've done. But yeah, I feel like it was just so normal. I just assumed, growing up, I feel like a lot of my parents' friends were actors or directors or just in the film industry. So my naive self just thought that everyone worked in entertainment, which I don't think is true.
I can say that for a lot of that isn't true. I mean, I remember my very first time I went to LA and you would meet people and everybody you met was involved in the entertainment industry. And like what you're saying, that was just normal to them. And yet I'm from a small city in Australia. I'm like, wow, you guys have the coolest jobs ever. And everybody's just like, oh, it's just normal. I live in LA. What else would I be what else am I doing? Did you grow up then watching much of your parents? Because you were born after Third Watch ended. So just to clarify that.
Yes.
So, I mean, have you watched much of what they've done? And what do you think of kind of some of the roles that they've had over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched definitely as much as I can. My dad was recently in not American Horror Story. He was in Haunting of Hill House.
Mm-hmm.
And I started watching it and I was like, sorry, Dad, can't do it. I want to support you, but I can't do it. I won't watch this. And I'm pretty sure my mom did the same thing. She hates horror movies. And it was a horror show on Netflix. And she just would not watch it because she heard it was really scary. And so Dad was like, yeah, it's okay. But I have watched clips of Third Watch with my parents both in the scene together. They showed me a few clips and it's crazy because they date in this show.
Yep.
And I feel every time that people ask me about my parents and how they met and just ask about them, I always mention that they were on a show together and they also dated on the show, but they were already married. And then they had a second fake wedding in the show. And my mom, we sometimes compare the pictures of their fake weddings, their actual wedding. And it's just, it's really funny. So I do get some questions about that. And I have watched a lot of the stuff that my parents have been in. My dad was in Turner and Hooch on Disney Plus, so we watched that as a family. And my mom right now is looping, but also anything that she's been on, we all watch. So it's just it's really nice to be able to watch what they do. But it's also so surreal and weird because I know them and just watching them act is so odd to me. It feels so uncomfortable, but it's kind of funny.
That's hilarious. Yeah. I watched what did I watch the other day? Tropic Thunder, and I forgot that your dad was in that. That literally the opening scene, he's got this giant spurt of blood coming from his head after being shot. I'm like, hey, There's Anthony. There he is.
I know.
Completely
We always
random.
make a joke that my dad dies in every single movie or show that he's in. And so when we make plates for my dad every like for his birthday and I think for Christmas sometimes. So we always make him like custom made plates and we just like draw something and then they like print it on the plate. My older brother made like a plate that has like different versions of my dad dying in different like shows or movies. So it's like the different ways that he has died and like Tropic
Wow.
Thunder or like Starship Troopers where
Yep.
he just got like killed by a bug
Yep.
and um other ones I think like Hawaii Five-O like it was just yeah.
That's
And my
hilarious.
dad thought that was funny.
Wow, he's kind of like a Sean Bean type actor that no matter when he's in something, he's gonna die. So I mean, he didn't die in Third Watch, so I mean that's a positive, right?
Yeah,
So
let's go.
happy
I'm so
happy ending
happy for
marrying
him.
your mum in that show. So
Right.
you know
Right.
that's the one that we'll stick to. As much as I'd love to sit here for an hour or so and talk about your parents, we're here to talk about you, Levi, of course, and your career because you started gymnastics at, I mean, I want to say possibly the youngest you can actually start a sport. You were like 1.5, were you not? I mean,
Yes.
this is at an age where I feel, I mean, do you make that decision? I mean, how does that even come about that you're 1.5 and you can start gymnastics? That's incredible.
I my mom always says like I don't even remember when I started gymnastics. Like obviously I was so young, but she told me that she just asked me one day if I wanted to try out gymnastics and I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I was like, yes. And I was 18 months old and we started with mommy and me classes and then yeah, the rest is history, I guess. That sounds so corny when I say that by the way, but
Well, I mean, it's obviously a sport where, I guess the younger you are, sort of that kind of works. It's known for that age. Did
yeah.
you do other sports sort of before you obviously, turn a bit more elite, I guess, when you got a little bit older with the
Mhm.
gymnastics?
Yeah, I did ballet. And then I did some what else did I do? It was like always just gymnastics for me, but I did some diving a little bit. Um I think that was it. Like mostly just ballet, gymnastics, and like swimming and diving. And then I just put all my time into gym. And my mom wanted me to do dance because she boarded in like Germany and went to boarding school for ballet. But I just love gymnastics so much more.
I see sort of the correlations there, sort of the flexibility, the agility kind of style
Mhm.
sports there with that.
Yeah.
And I believe you were, what, 7 when all of a sudden this kind of went an elite level? And like, how does that work in the
Yes.
US, particularly at that age? Like, how do you all of a sudden switch gears and go, all right, I'm elite now. This is going to be something to really pursue.
I again did was pretty like you're so young. Like, how do you know what any of this means?
Mm.
But um when I was 7, I moved to a new gym called Paramount Elite Gymnastics. And my coach saw that I had a lot of talent. And so she decided to put me at this program called TOPS, which is basically the elite track. And she just like saw my potential. And I think she just wanted to put me in that track. And then again, like not really knowing what it meant, I was all for it because she told me that it would be good for my training and she told my parents it would be good for me and that I could possibly achieve a lot with going through that system. So I started doing tops then. And then through there, I like continued to progress through the levels. And like USAG has like this whole entire structure of how they like bring up their gymnasts to be at like the highest elite level possible. But yeah, I guess like my elite journey started when I was 7 and I was going to like these little camps by myself when I was 9 years old and
Wow.
for like at the Crowley Ranch with like a bunch of other gymnasts and traveling with my coach. It was like very intensive, but um, also incredibly memorable.
And I can imagine incredibly competitive because obviously anybody
Mhm.
outside of the US who watches the amazing athletes you produce knows sort of how good you guys are. So I can imagine at that age, how competitive that must be going up against, girls and boys of your own age and sort of fighting for
Yeah.
spots on the team.
Yes, it was super competitive, and I think I know there were like probably like thousands of girls who try out for tops testing, and then 100, I think it's 100 girls get invited to A camp and B camp is what they called it. And then from there, if they like your gymnastics, then you're selected to go to invitational camp. And then from there, it's developmental. And then finally, like the very, very top is national team camp,
Wow.
which is like where Simone and Suni and all those Olympians train. And so I just kind of like made my way up through the system, and then you know, got to national team camp, and just those were held about every month, every 1.5 months or so, for a few days, where we go to wherever the national team camps were held, and then like just train with other incredible gymnasts. And it was extremely competitive, but it was also, that's part of like the point of why they bring all these extremely competitive gymnasts together, is so that it kind of like lights a fire in you and you see who your competitors are, and like it pushes you to be better. So yeah.
What age were you then when you made that national camp for the first time?
I think I was 12.
Wow.
Or
12.
13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. And I mean, can you even comprehend at that age what that means to be in that environment surrounded by those types of athletes?
I was so nervous, like going to my first national team camp. I think it was in Tampa, no, or Sarasota, Florida. And I was so nervous, just like lining up, and like I was so little at the time, and so, young. I was like 5 spaces down from like Simone and Suni, and I was just like so incredibly nervous, and um, just like, I can't believe I'm here. But at the same time, I was so young that I feel like it was always like my goal, and I was like always close to getting there. And so once I got there, I just like wanted to do the next thing, which was like make an international assignment, and then, go to the Olympics and win medals and just all those types of things. So there was always like a next thing for me.
Kind of that competitive, I guess, instinct takes over, that it's almost like, sure, you're starstruck by seeing the likes of a Simone Biles there, but instantly it's like, well, I'm good enough to be next to Simone Biles, so what's next for me essentially right now?
Yeah. 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 No, I agree. And also just seeing all those girls train, and like being under them just motivated me to like get to their level, and learn anything I could from them, and just like be honored to be coached and selected by USAG to be able to train like and be on the level of those girls, and just get that opportunity, because it was something I'll definitely remember for the rest of my life.
And I mean, you just walk into that environment, I can imagine, go, Simone Biles, my parents are Anthony and, Yvonne Jung-Ruivivar. I'm hanging out with celebrities all the time, right? This is nothing essentially for me. You're just in, standard company.
Right.
Yeah, it's just kind of what you have there. I mean, you touched on the Olympics. Did you have sort of an age or a memory of when that was the goal for you, that all of a sudden you realized that this is what you wanted to achieve to get to an Olympics?
Yeah, so I think when I was about 7 years old, my coach, when she put me in the tops program on the way to do elite, I thought the highest level that you could go was level 10. And so there's a difference. There's like elite level track and there's JO. So elite level like goes up to the Olympics, and then JO is like just goes up to level 10. And so I thought the highest level was level 10. And so I was like, okay, my goal is to do level 10 when I'm 10 years old, because I thought like 10 and 10 was like cool. And then, which is like a really young age to do level 10.
Right.
And then I'm just going to quit, because that's as far as I can go. Like, and once I'm, get as far as I can go, then I'm done. She's like, no, there's also this elite track where you can like push all the way up to the Olympics. And then when I heard that, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm doing that. And then when I heard it was called collegiate gymnastics, I was like, and I'm doing that too. So, once I heard about that, I think I was like 7 when that's when I started wanting to pursue going to the Olympics. And obviously, like every little girl in gymnastics, like wants to go to the Olympics, but I think just understand like how hard it actually is to get there. Like I don't know, I would never have known.
Which I guess the difference though is if you're 7 and thinking of an Olympics, whereas like for most athletes, 7, you're thinking like, oh, in like 15, 20 years, I'm going to be at the Olympics. As a 7-year-old gymnast, realistically, you could be at the next Olympics or the Olympics after that because obviously,
Yeah.
you know, it's sort of that age. I mean, in that period when you make the national team, if I'm doing my math correctly, that would be between Rio and Tokyo. So were you sort of looking towards Tokyo at that point, or was it more Paris for you at that point?
It was always Paris just because of my eligibility.
Right.
You have to be 16 years old in order to compete. And for the Tokyo Olympics, I would have been too young to
Right.
compete.
Even with the
So
delay, of course, that would have just even, yeah. Okay.
yeah. Um, I think I just like always had my eyes set on 2024, and my all of my training and like was geared to that, and all my preparation and build up was geared to the 2024 Olympics. And so I think that was always what I had my eyes set on, and then, you know, 2028 as well.
Talk to me about apparatus, because I always love talking to gymnasts about, you know, you got to be so diverse in what you do with all your routines and that. But when it comes to the separate apparatus, do you automatically work out a favorite, like, or does it sort of come to you in terms of what you end up being better at? Because based on your success and what you've achieved, I would assume it's uneven bars for you, Levi, but please correct me if I'm wrong, if maybe there's another one that you prefer, but you just happen to get a bit of a success in one over the other.
Yep, you're right. Ours is my favorite. It's always been my favorite. I think I just naturally really get the like swing and the feel of doing uneven bars. But I think, okay, here's my thing. I love training bars. I think my favorite event to compete is floor, just because of the performance aspect of being able to connect with the crowd through my dance. And I think people tend to like to watch the floor routines. Um, so I would say floor is my favorite to compete. Bars is my favorite to train. Um, vault is the easiest to compete, and beam's the hardest to compete. But also, like, I love beam. I think my least favorite event is probably vault, just because sometimes I find it like monotonous. But I think I honestly just like love all the events. But bars has always had like a special place in my heart.
I love
Yeah.
hearing an elite athlete describe something as easy, because I look at any of those and think to myself, yeah, I can barely even, you know, do a half flip, let alone do any of the stand up things. So I mean, it just goes to show how good you are at what you do, that you look at, yeah, easy, monotonous, whatever, you know.
I mean, we're gonna cover them and be like, "Oh, it's not
Yeah.
easy." Like, I'm not saying like it is like, okay, wait, it's not easy, but it's easier to compete
Right.
mentally, because you just get to run down and all of a sudden you're done.
Do a
Versus all
couple
the
of
other events,
flips.
you have to wait there,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
it's just
Which,
it's just one, yeah, it's basically just one flip, and then you land and you're done.
because
So
it's one that's over so quickly, and it's sort of, I mean, look,
yeah.
everybody loves watching gymnastics no matter what, because I think it's definitely one of these sports that a lot of people probably sitting there in their living room going, it's doing a couple of flips, you know, they're doing it, anyone can do that, right? But then when you actually understand what you guys are doing, I mean, you look at, you know, the beam alone. I mean, how wide is that? Where everyone talks about that in the Olympics, and just
4 inches.
it's
Yeah.
insane. Like, I can barely stand up on something that's, you know, normal size, let alone 4 inches, and that you can do the sort of the activities on that. I mean, take us through generally, Levi, a training week for you, sort of in the lead up to the Olympics. Like, how often are you in the gym? How often are you practicing these routines in a general week for you?
A lot. It takes so much practice. And like, also, I do agree. I think a lot of people watch gymnastics and they're in awe of us, but they also think, like, oh, like, it's, you're just flipping and like, that's amazing. But like, oh, I wonder if like I train to get, I could do that. And I think like a lot of people can, but I think to get to the elite level does take a lot of additional things, just because part of why it looks easy is because we're supposed to make it look easy. Like, if it looks hard and it looks like we're struggling, our scores are going to be low. Like, that's really low execution. And part of what makes gymnastics look good is the effortlessness of it.
Great point.
So
Yeah.
I think that's also why some people think that it looks like easier than it actually is, because I feel like some of my parents, when they have come and watched like a practice, like actually in the gym, they've been like, oh, I don't realize how heavy you're breathing when you're doing all your skills, and like how much like actual like muscular effort it takes.
Yeah.
Like when you're standing in person, like really in like real time, like watching someone do gymnastics, I think it looks like a lot more effort than it may look to other people on the outside. And I think that's like really interesting, because even when I watch other people do gymnastics, I'm like, oh, it looks so effortless, so easy. And then I go do it, I'm like, oh, I forgot this is like hard. And then but anyway, yeah, a week in my life in terms of training, it kind of depends. For elite, I was doing like a morning practice from 8:30 to 11 or 11:30, and then 3 to 6.
Wow.
So that was, and I was doing that Monday through Thursday, and then Friday was 8 to 12, and then Saturday, or 8:30 to 12, and then Saturday was 8:30 to
So
12, I
6
believe, as
days a
well.
week. Six days a week. You're training.
Yes.
Wow.
6 days a week. And then I was like going home and doing more cardio after that. Doing a lot. But and then in between gym, just like getting schoolwork done, physical therapy appointments, sports psychology, just like any additional things that you need to do.
Do you get
So
sleep?
that was
It
what
feels
my
like you never sleep. Like there's no time for it.
trust me, I sleep so much. It's actually like a problem. Okay, well, I just get really grumpy if I don't get enough sleep. And
Right.
by the end of like a day like that, I just am knocked out. Like I have no, people always ask me, if I have a hard time like falling asleep because I'm stressed, or, I'm like, even if I was stressed, like I'm too tired. Like I need to go to sleep. Like
I can imagine.
I,
That's crazy.
yeah.
Wow. I mean, it's obviously, any elite athlete who's striving towards those goals is obviously going to do that. But it's just, it's incredible to just hear that routine. And I always say, just back to your point about sort of how, your job is to make it look easy. Can't agree with that more. I always say that at an Olympic Games, we should put me out there against you, and then people can see the difference of what a normal person up against an elite athlete would be, so that every Joe Schmo and their friend sitting on the couch with a couple of beers going, I could do that, they all of a sudden see how much they couldn't do that when they're up against a normal person, right?
Yeah. I
Balances it
mean, I
out.
love I love the challenges when people, try to do a wolf turn or something. When they see you doing a wolf turn, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna try it," and then everyone in the family who's watching the TV like tries it, and they're like, "Holy shit, this is like really hard!" Like,
We had in Australia during the Sydney Olympics back in the year 2000 a comedy duo who sort of every night would do like a, kind of like a Jimmy Fallon style late night show. They'd get Olympians on. It was very, very popular. It was called The Dream. And one of their segments they would do is commentary, where they would do sort of like mock commentary on events. Their gymnastics commentary, if they had social media back then, would have gone viral. It went viral by 2000 standards. I'll have to share a clip with you, Levi, because it is it's something that I don't even want to explain through just talking to you right now, because you need to see it to believe it. But basically, for a country where we don't have a lot of history in gymnastics, we fell in love with gymnastics even more based on some comedy of commentary. So people who know The Dream and Roy and Atshia would know it. But, it's sort of that added some flair to a sport in this country that, again, we don't really have a lot of history in gymnastics. I'll have to share it with you.
yes, you do. I would love to see it.
Yeah, it's quite funny with that. Just on, obviously, you ultimately go to Paris, and we'll get to that for the Philippines, and you are a dual citizen. Your family, your grandfather, I believe, from the Philippines. But was that always the goal, the dream for you for the Philippines? Was there the prospect of USA? Kind of like, how did that sort of work? I guess in that period in the lead up to Paris, that ultimately you go to the Olympics for the Philippines and not the USA.
Yeah. So I competed for the US until I was 16, and I mean, I loved it. I have so many incredible memories competing for the US. And I think ultimately I wanted to like explore more of my like heritage and culture like in the Philippines. And there were a lot of opportunities for me to do that by transitioning to compete for the Philippines and like to travel more to Asia and the Philippines. And my Lolo, my grandpa, always talked about like his time growing up in the Philippines and how he wanted to take me. But after he passed, like I didn't think I was gonna get to do that have that opportunity. And so part of the reason why I made the transition was because of that and just like feeling really excited to get the opportunity to represent the Philippines at international competitions. And um, it was something that I had thought about when I was young, like I think around 13. Someone like just kind of offhandedly mentioned it to me. And I once they mentioned that, it like became ingrained in my mind that wait, actually I would love to do that. But I think initially, just due to like the logistics of how hard it is to transition your like FIG license, to compete for a different country. I was going to try and compete for the US at the 2024 Olympics and then compete for the Philippines at the 2028. But I was able to like get the big license transitioned and my dual citizenship and my Filipino passport. So once I was able to do that, like and I just connected with the entire sports delegation over in the Philippines. I really, really wanted to do it.
Was that a tricky process to sort of get that license and switch, I guess, countries? Because, I mean, it sounds like that would be not a simple thing to do.
Yeah, it was hard. So I had to like basically write a letter to both the US delegation and the Philippines delegation, like requesting my change and then get people in the US, like USAG, to basically write a letter back saying that they signed off on releasing me from USAG,
Right.
and allowing me to like go compete for a different country. And then in addition to that, like FIG had to um like kind of just review my case, see that everything was in order. And then on top of all of that, just, acquiring your dual citizenship, which I have dual citizenship by birth, but still like getting that paperwork. And then getting my Filipino passport, obviously all of that, because Philippines is so far, like the connection between being in the US and getting that paperwork done in the Philippines was just like a lot of back and forth. But we had a lot of people who helped in the process. So it was able to be expedited a little bit. But yeah.
And then it all happened. And it must have meant a little bit extra because obviously alongside Aaliyah and Emma, you three were the first female gymnasts from the Philippines to compete in the Olympics in 60 years. There's been a long time that the Philippines had sent female gymnasts to the Olympics. I mean, what was that like? And do you sort of remember that moment when it was official, that it was rubber stamped? You were an Olympian, you were going to Paris?
Yes. That was so surreal. I knew that going into so the last routine that I did was bars, and that was the event that qualified me to the Olympics. That was after a series of 4 international competitions and like months and months of training, honestly, like 2 months of traveling to these international countries and like going through time change and, adjusting to different equipment and dealing with, all the hardships of the international travel. Like there were so many random things that happened that just like made it so hard. But I knew that it was going to come down to one routine. And basically, like all this work that I just did came down to how I did this last routine. And it was super close. Like I had to be in the number one spot for the point system in order to qualify. And so even though I got second, the person who was first was already qualified to the Olympics, like in a different way. So technically, like I got the first spot. And so once I was going into the routine, I was like so nervous. And I remember just having to like calm myself down and just let that routine like carry me through and just let the muscle memory kick in and like calm myself down. But it was so surreal because once my score came up and I saw that I was like in first place, I wasn't even sure if I qualified. I kept texting people. I think there was like a text exchange with my mom, and I was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Wait, did I qualify?" She was like, "I don't know." She was like, "I think he did, but I'm not 100% sure." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And then I was like, my mom was crying, and I was just so shocked that I was just sitting there. And then before I had time to process it, they grabbed me to go get drug tested. So then I was just celebrating for like 2 hours while I waited to go, basically pee in a
I
cup.
was going to say, you kind of get this
But it
awkward
was so
moment
good.
of celebrating while you got to go to the toilet. I mean, that's, the life of an
Yeah.
athlete, right?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's insane to kind of think that it all comes down to that one moment. And do you sort of know, like before you get the scores and you sit in the kiss and cry and it gets confirmed,
Mhm.
like I'm sure you've got a feeling that I nailed that. There's no way they can't give me good
Yeah.
scores for that.
Yeah. I mean, after I finished the routine, I knew that it was a good routine for me. And I had a good feeling about it, especially because I did new skills in that routine and my difficulty was higher than any other routine I've done. And I was still really nervous because I was like fourth up out of 8 athletes. So there were still other girls who could have gone and really hit their routines and beaten me. So it was both amazing because like I know I just did everything I possibly could to, put my best performance out there. And I know I'm gonna get a good score, but I also don't know if other people are going to get a good score and I don't know how they're going to perform. And I don't know if, the judges are going to reward it the way that it should be. And, just there's so many different factors that go into it. But I knew for myself, at least, that I did like what I needed to do. But then it's still like nerve wracking. And then when the score like flashed, I like people started reacting before I did because I had to do like almost like a little double take to make sure that I saw like my score. I wasn't sure if it was like the person's score before me, and then I was like confused, and then I was like, "Wait, no, I'm in first place right now." And then I like started smiling, and yeah.
Did you allow, after, the formalities of the drug testing and everything along those lines, a night of celebration? Was it kind of, allow yourself to celebrate that moment?
What did I do that night?
Either it was a big one that you can't
I
remember it or
I
you didn't do
don't
much.
think I probably just like I mean I was in like a foreign country and I didn't really have like I'm pretty sure I just probably hung out with my mom. I
Hey.
think it was so late. I think I had a lot of interviews after I qualified and just a lot of like meetings with people. So honestly, by the time I got back to my hotel room, I just again, me and sleep, I just knocked out. So
Celebration
and
sleep.
then
Yep.
right, celebrate honestly, the best celebration I possibly could have was
Exactly.
sleeping,
Good
but
sleep.
when
That's
I
what we
got
need.
back to Dallas, like, a few of my teammates and my boyfriend at the time, came with, like, posters and just congratulated me on, qualifying to the Olympics, and that was so sweet. That, like, made just that was a celebration that really mattered to me.
I always love asking this question. Is there a moment where you feel like you are an Olympian, be it the moment you qualify, the moment you get
Mhm.
your uniform, the moment you step out on the mat? Like we said, there's a moment that it hit you, Levi, that I am an Olympian.
I think I don't think it was until I stepped out on a competition floor at the Olympics that I thought I was an Olympian. Just because I felt like even though I qualified to the Olympics, that didn't make me an Olympian. And I wanted to be able to fully like step out on the competition floor and do my gymnastics at the Olympics in front of the crowd for me to know that I was an Olympian. So when they called my name and I walked out like from behind like the little back scene area, and like that camera was just like following my face, I was like, wait, this is like I'm here. I made it. This is what I've been working for. And now is like my opportunity to just do what I've been doing for the last 17, 18 years and just showcase the sport that I love so much for all these amazing people who are here and like have come to watch Olympians. Like
Yeah.
they're here to watch Olympians. And that's, I think, something that just really hit me.
Which it very nearly didn't happen because a few days
Yeah.
beforehand you had a little incident in the village. I remember I caught up with your parents for dinner a couple of days beforehand, and they were updating me on what had happened to you. But a little allergic reaction happened. Levi, explain maybe a little bit more about what happened there and how close you were maybe to not competing in Paris.
It was so unfortunate. I had an anaphylactic allergic reaction. Like, oh, probably even less than a week before I was competing at the Olympics. And that, like, having an anaphylactic allergic reaction just like messes up your entire system. I don't know what exactly happened when I ate that caused it because I hadn't eaten any food within like 3 hours. I was just walking around the Olympic Village on phone with my mom. All of a sudden, like my breath just got like so short. My face started swelling. My lips were puffy. I have like ridiculously embarrassing photos of me during my allergic reaction where I look like a different person. Like I don't even look recognizable because my lips are so swollen and my eyes are like almost shut and I look miserable. But then there's these little like cars that go around the Olympic Village and like shuttle people places. And so I grabbed my teammate, Aaliyah Finnegan, and was like, I'm having an allergic reaction. And she looked at me and was like, okay, we're going to the hospital right now. So we grabbed one of those and we were like, take us to the hospital. And then he was driving so slow. And then he kept picking up other athletes along the way and dropping them off at like wherever their, house was or their like delegation.
Wow.
And there were like, I think I forget who they were because I was so out of it, but there were these groups of guys who were about to come on. And Aaliyah was like, we got to go to the hospital. Like, she's having an allergic reaction. And they were like, no, go, go, go. And he was like, no, it's okay. And they're like, no, like, she needs to get to the hospital.
Now. Look at her.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he dropped us off at this place and he was like, the hospital's right there. But then we couldn't find it. And so then we went to a different place and they're like, okay, well, I think the hospital is actually all the way on the other side of the Olympic Village. And so then we get in another place and go to the other side of the Olympic Village. And that like medical facility is closed.
Oh,
and
no.
so then now at this point, like I've been calling my coach and he wasn't answering. But luckily he was on a walk and just had his phone off. We saw him on the way to the medical facility. And we were like, I'm having an allergic reaction. Like, we need help right now. And so he keeps like calling people. We're all calling people. In the middle of all this, like I was getting so bad that I was like, I need to take my EpiPen. So I self-induced my EpiPen while I'm on FaceTime with my parents. And then like it's talking to me and it's like, okay, like hold the shot in for 3 seconds and then discard the other like things. And then I got back and then it was just so chaotic. Finally, they find like people who can take me to the hospital. And then I stay there. They give me like medication. They just like make sure I'm okay. Luckily, the EpiPen helps a lot. Then they take me in an ambulance like back to my room because I was so like out of it. And then they like keep me in my room overnight. And then the next morning I go back to the hospital, get like medication, another check-in. And then my body was so drained after that. And then training was really, really hard for the next few days. And I was like, well, like, I just got to push through because like I'm here. Like, this is my dream. I'm not going to like let this stop me from competing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite a surreal experience. Not very fun, but at least I have, a unique experience to tell about being at the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it making the news. I think it even made news as far away as in Australia. It was sort of making the news about, Olympic gymnasts, substance reaction. Did you find after you sort of were able to get back into training and sort of get over that initial period of recovering that it was still affecting you? Like by the time you got to competition day, did you still feel it was affecting you by the time you did hit the mat?
Yeah. Unfortunately, my body and just like was so tired, not only from the allergic reaction, but the medication that I need to stabilize my heart after taking the EpiPen. Um, and so my body was just really drained, even like the day of competition. And training had been going really well leading up to that. And then once that happened, like I was just so drained. And I think I ultimately just had to let my muscle memory and like adrenaline get me through that competition because I was still struggling a little bit physically after that, being hospitalized
Yeah,
basically.
I
So
can imagine.
yeah.
What an incredible story, kind of. And again, as you said, you don't even know how it happened. It's not like you go, "Oops, I shouldn't have eaten that." It was like, how does this even
Yeah. I
happen?
was making me even more scared because I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
want this to happen again.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Because I
yeah.
guess there's that mental aspect too. Exactly, like you don't know how it
Yeah.
happened. So in the lead up to
Yeah.
just in terms of the competition itself, Levi. I mean, I have a two-part question. Did you actually set a goal? Was it sort of like make the finals? I mean, obviously a medal. Like, I mean, what was sort of your goal going into the competition aspect?
I think my goal was to make like finals and to also just see how well I could do like under the pressure. I think also having recovered from that anaphylactic reaction, I was so just trying to like enjoy the experience after like such a scary thing that happened to me. I think it was like one being able to like enjoy the moment and fully take it in without worrying too much about the outcome. But then two, like obviously the competitive nature in me always wants to do my best performance and like make finals. And then also the second that I was done with it, I was like, okay, now what do I need to do in 2028 to come back even better? Like,
Wow, you had that mindset all that quickly, basically.
yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
incredible. Because if I'm not mistaken, you only missed out in the final by what, like 0.04 or something
yes, it was
stupid
so
small.
close. I know.
Wow, I'm blaming the whatever it was that you accidentally got allergic to. Right, without that, you were in. You were a shoe in for the final, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I would have hoped so. I feel like it did really like take a lot out of me. So, I mean, yeah,
It's
it's okay. That's why I have next Olympics.
Well, I love that mindset, Levi, because I mean, I love that also the posts that you put on your Instagram. I mean, it's a great post where you sort of thank everyone for your journey and everything along those lines. And I just want to read this part. You say at the end, "This is only the beginning of this journey. I can't wait to see what's next for me, and the experiences has just motivated me further to continue elite gymnastics. Going into college at Stanford this fall, you're going to give all your all in your sport because it means so much, and you know it always will. LA 28, here you come." So, I mean, just on what you were saying, this was almost just like a switch in your head. It was like, wow, this is it. You sort of, I guess, didn't
Yeah.
reflect on the fact that you didn't make that point you wanted to, and you're already thinking 4 years in advance. So you've got this mindset, Levi, that clearly you're still pushing through with this dream.
Yes. I definitely like want to do the 2028 and who knows like where I'll be in 4 years, but I know that I want to push for that and possibly even be in a better place than like I was at this Olympics and with more like knowledge and experience and like ways of managing different things. And I think just I've learned a lot, and every year that I do gymnastics, I learn more and more about myself and like what I need for my training. And as I get older, I have more like autonomy over my training schedule and like strength training and just anything that I need that I feel like it's going to help me specifically. And so I think going into the 2028 Olympics, I feel like I'll have a good idea of what I need to be at my absolute best. And I think that's going to be like a strength that I didn't have as much before, even though I had incredible coaches and a support system. So very lucky for that. But yeah.
Home Olympics too. You're an LA girl, of course. So, it's
Yeah.
right.
I know. Also like that helps.
Yeah, right in your
Like
backyard.
extra motivation.
Yeah, exactly. And then keep going another 4 years. Come down to our backyard here in Brisbane, right? They've finally announced some
Hey,
venues. So
who knows?
yeah,
Who knows? Right.
Keep. How old was Oksana? Was she like in her late 40s by the time she hung up the gloves, or didn't make it to Paris? So you can keep going with that. I mean, what was the mood like though with the Filipino team, with Carlos obviously getting the couple of golds? I mean, this was what the first ever golds, if I'm not mistaken, Philippines have ever won in the sport of
Yeah.
gymnastics. So, I mean, that must have been a great mood within the team.
Yes. I think just the fact that all three of us were the first, women to compete in the Olympics and for gymnastics in 60 years, and then Carlos winning gold, and how much that multiple golds, bringing home those medals meant to the Philippines and gymnastics. And, we got to meet the president of the Philippines, President Bongo Marcos.
Eventually, I wanted to ask you about that because you eventually got there, right?
Yes. Yes.
Didn't quite happen at first. Eventually.
After a lot of chaos and just miscommunication between people, did eventually get there. But he was telling us how much of an impact like our participation in the Olympics was to so many young Filipina and Filipino athletes, specifically gymnasts, and like the high schools and colleges and just like all these places, like we're getting so many people just signing up for gymnastics events and wanting to enroll like their kids in these classes and gymnastics. Everything was like gymnastics related. And having gone to the Philippines and see how absolutely excited people were, like to just meet me and be excited that we got to do that for the Philippines was so heartwarming. And I was so proud of Carlos, and I saw how hard he was working leading up to the Olympics and how much potential he had, and I knew like they had a really good shot at it. But just the fact that he was able to not pull off just one but like two medals is so incredible. I'm so happy for him.
To put that into context for some people who might not realize, going into Paris, Philippines had only ever won one Olympic gold medal in their entire history that came in weightlifting in Tokyo. So Carlos goes out and wins two, doubles the amount of gold medals that the country has won in the history of the Olympics. So, I mean,
Yes.
a massive deal for the entire country. So, we're lucky to be speaking in Australia and the US, where we've obviously got quite a significant history in the Olympics. But for a country like Philippines, I mean, is Carlos basically on a track to being a president? Like, is he just get a national day named after him? I mean, what sort of honors is he going to get after bringing home two gold medals?
I know. I think he got so much from what they got. I think he got like a lifetime supply of like colonoscopy appointments or something.
Why not?
I don't know. That's like, I think that was just something that I read that I thought was really funny, so that's why I'm bringing it up. But he was really honored in so many ways. And I think just everyone was so excited to celebrate him and his incredible accomplishment, because it's huge. Like, that's huge not only for just like any country that brings their athletes to the Olympics. Like, it was huge for the Philippines because it was making so much history and proving that, you in the Philippines, where there isn't as many resources to training facilities and coaches as there are in other countries, that like can be incredible athletes with so much talent and so many goals that they're able to accomplish, and that if you work hard and towards achieving your goal, that like it's attainable. And they have an incredible men's team. They have really, like, Carlos's younger brother is a really good gymnast too. So
still more to come. I'm a maths guy, Levi, in the smallest form, but I'm working out how this would work. One gold in Tokyo, right? Double that in Paris at 2. To come LA, that means Philippines will win 4. And I'm just saying you're going to get all those 4 coming in the all around.
Oh, yeah.
The bars, the floor, and your beloved vault. There's 4 gold medals right there. Easy.
Yeah, right. There you go.
It's logic. It's
I got to top it, right?
Yeah. It's the way of the world. You can't deny numbers. It's that simple with it. We're going to wrap up with a set of 10 questions in just a moment. Before I get a couple of things, I touched at the very beginning. Social media superstar. I'm talking 72,000 followers on Instagram. You got 29,000 TikTok, 1 million likes if you don't mind. And I mean, your videos during the Olympics were just so fun to watch. Your behind the scenes life in the village and everything that you were going on with that. I mean, that must just be a bit of fun for you to be able to kind of showcase what you're up to and sort of seeing that. And then having a lot of people, I'm sure, sort of connecting with you because they're seeing what it's like for an Olympian sort of in this, unique place you're staying at.
Yeah, those videos were so fun to make, and half of them I feel like some of them I put so much effort into editing, and the others ones I just like threw it out there. And I think people love just like the raw footage of being in like being in the Olympic Village and just being able to connected like and explore because I was exploring and honestly making those videos was a way for me to like go out of my room and go explore the Olympic Village because there's certain things that I would have never known were there if I hadn't like wanted to make some of those videos and share it with people. Like there was a post office, there were bakeries, there was like a like grocery store in the Olympic Village and like there were so many fun things that I got to do through making those videos and also just getting to show some like insider information behind the scenes with people and seeing how much they appreciated it and like how excited and interested they were in it made me really happy and um no it was so much fun and I enjoy doing social media a lot and just giving people some insider information into my life and um just hopefully they get to know like some of the real me.
Does it mean you
Yeah.
consider yourself an influencer now? Like at what level do you all of a sudden
Oh.
become an influencer? I don't know what the threshold is there.
Yeah, I don't know what the threshold is, but
Yeah,
I mean, I guess like I would consider myself maybe sometimes a part-time influencer.
that counts. That
Maybe.
works. Part-time
Yeah, a
Olympian,
part-time
full-time
influencer, like
Olympian,
what
part-time
what
influencer.
I want to be.
Yeah, that was the one I love. I mean, your pin trading one that you did, sort of collecting all the pins.
Yes.
Thanks for the shout out, by the way. I see you got the pin that I gave your mum and dad, so I'm glad you got that on your lanyard there. But the one I was impressed you got with the North Korean pin. You got a North Korean pin
Yeah.
on that. I mean, do you remember sort of how you got that one? Because I've heard that was impossible to get in Paris.
Yeah. No, those I actually got that from one of the gymnasts.
Oh wow.
So I was so lucky. I think I feel like I didn't even do that good of a job trading pins compared to other people, but some people got like they would just walk around like I swear it must have been weighing them down because there were so many pins. Um, but yeah, one of the gymnasts gave it to me, and like her and I didn't really talk ever, but we had seen each other at different like competitions before internationally, and we were always like just nice to each other. So she gave me a pen, and I felt very honored because I think she only had like a few,
Wow.
and I was like, yes.
You got it. Did you get one of Simone's pins? Because she had her own unique pins too, didn't she?
I didn't. I
Ah,
should have. Like I saw her around, and like I think we talked a few times, and like I got grabbed lunch with like the U.S. team a few times, but I didn't get one of her pens. I
damn.
think I like didn't even ask. I should have
Damn.
asked.
Ah, well, next time
I
you bump
know.
into her, you're besties, right? So, actually, quickly on that,
Yeah.
speaking of besties, we had Jordan Charles on this show many years ago and still saying right now, robbed, right? I mean, she's got to get that bronze medal back. Come on. Like, what's going on there? I don't get these weird rules in gymnastics, Levi, why she got robbed of that bronze medal. Come on.
That was so interesting. Like I followed that really closely, and it's so yeah. It was like a difficult situation. Like I didn't completely understand, but like I felt bad for both of them.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm also close with the other gymnasts. So I like the other gymnast is coming to Stanford next year.
Right.
She committed to Stanford University and I actually hosted her in this room. So
Wow.
she slept on my bed like while I
Wow. Okay. There's balls in each court here.
So,
I get it.
yeah. But she was really sweet and I think like I feel for both of them because like just like I can't imagine having like a medal taken away from you and like thinking you won bronze but then not and then
Yeah.
going back and forth and then the delegations just like fighting and not fighting, they were being compliant with one another, but just it was like I felt bad, honestly, so bad for both of them.
We got an iconic photo out of it at least. They can't take that away. Right?
Exactly.
So that's
Yeah.
the main thing. Speaking of Stanford, you're obviously you're there now. Big university. The one thing I just wanted to check in with you, Levi. Obviously, recently you shared a post that you're taking some time away, obviously to deal with an eating disorder, and the support and the feedback that you got from that was just been absolutely outstanding. So just checking in, how you doing? How's it all going? Because I'm sure a lot of people watching and listening right now kind of want to hear how things are right now with you.
Yeah. So, I took a leave of absence this winter quarter, and I'm back now. Um, and things are going a lot better. I think it was definitely like the right decision for me to take that time to just recover. And I'm still in the recovery process because it takes a long time. I didn't realize it was going to take this long, but um, I think, I was really nervous to share that with the public just because it's something that I've been dealing with for a while, and I didn't know how people were going to react to it, but it was like my truth, and I wanted to share it with those who were following me because I think it's important not only for my recovery process, but also for those who may be nervous to come forward or nervous to seek help or, nervous to start their recovery process. And it meant a lot to me to be able to share that with everyone. Um, and yeah, I'm doing much better now. And, just taking it day by day and getting back into training and, starting spring quarter, which I'm super excited about. Connecting with friends and teammates and my coaches, and just everyone has been so incredibly supportive. And I think just understanding that, trying to normalize that it's okay for people to have struggles and go through things, and it's okay to take a step back because that's what's necessary sometimes in order to like take 5 steps forward. And I think that just giving myself the time and the space to do that, and hopefully just encourage others to do it if they need to as well, or come to me if they need support, um, was really empowering for me. And I got so many incredibly kind messages, and a lot of people just coming and sharing their stories with me. And that meant more to me than almost like anything that I've ever posted. So, yeah.
Well, we're glad to hear that it's, getting better for you, and we obviously wish you the best of luck. And as I said, and as you just said too, the support and the sort of the feedback there seems nothing but positive and supportive, and obviously great that you're brave enough to post that, and that you've obviously got people there that you can sort of reach out with that one there. But Levi, we wrap out every interview with the OTP 10, we're calling it. It's 10 questions.
Okay.
Get to know your style. They're random. They're deep. They're funny. They could be stupid. I don't know. You're about to find out. You can give an honest assessment of them at the end. So I'll start off with the first one. What is the one thing that you never leave home without when traveling to a competition?
Ooh. My makeup bag, Aquaphor, extra hair ties, and sometimes sticky spray.
Okay.
So that your leotard like doesn't ride up like anywhere.
Okay. Which it's
yeah.
That is, I can imagine, important on many levels, but like it's just that's one of, going back to the point about how it amazes me when we watch athletes and how great you are. It does always amaze me in many sports, no matter what they are, when it comes to certain uniforms, how things don't ride up places. So I'm glad that sticky spray exists. So
yes, me too.
Is there a booming business out there for the sticky spray industry? Like, do you have to choose certain brands because some are better than the others, or is it just the standard sticky spray?
I think it's just like a standard sticky spray, or like sometimes even hairspray works. Like it just,
fascinating. We had some artistic swimmers on in the lead up to Paris, and they like absolutely baffled me when it came to using gelatin in their hair, because it helped them with that. Like, are there tricks of the trade for gymnasts when it comes to certain things that you've got to use? And that, because your hair also is very like tight and strict, right? Like, it's very important that it's kept a certain way.
Yes. I mean, we put a lot of like gel and hairspray in our hair, and then like we tie it so tight. Taking out my competition hair is one of the best feelings ever. Like, that's the first thing that I'll do when I get home from competition, is and just like take it out, and then it's like still stuck there.
Wow.
I'm like trying to like go take a shower, but definitely like hair. I mean, everyone has like different grip preferences. Like, it just depends on like your preference, but I really like more grippy grips, and that probably doesn't make sense, but I also like the double buckle. Some people like the strap, some people like a single buckle. I like certain like dry band wristbands. I feel like help like with my grip support. Some people use rosin if they have sweaty feet. I mean,
Wow.
chalk's obviously a must. It's
I was
gymnastics.
going to ask
Yeah,
how like I mean I was just going to call it the powder chalk's more technical. Yes, it is chalk, but like
yeah,
I mean that obviously is very helpful, right? Because you'd watch it and it's going everywhere. So I'm using a lot of
yeah. It's so messy. My dad gets so mad when I get in his car and I
it.
like just touch anything and it's just chalk.
Wow.
And my gym bag is just everything's just basically infected with chalk. And I swear, every time I like shower, I'll be scrubbing my legs because they have chalk on them from bars. And then I get out of the shower, and even though I scrub them like 10 times with soap, the chalk like reappears somewhere new. I'm like, dang, I really just spent like 10 minutes scrubbing one spot, and it just came back.
There, wow. I mean, this is a random question, but it's coming back to your point about when your dad gets mad of you. Of the clips you saw of Third Watch, did you ever see the clip of him singing the Pina Colada song with a bird? Okay, well,
No,
I'm going to share that to you, and you can shove that in his face every time he goes off at you for the chalk. You're welcome.
I
So,
will.
yes, all
Thank you
right.
so much for
You're
giving me
welcome.
that gem.
I'm giving you some ammo there, Levi. You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
What is a tradition or superstition you follow before every big competition?
Ooh, okay. I started carrying this little good luck charm bag around with me to all my international competitions. And this little boy, before I went to the Olympics, like gave me a Tootsie Roll and was like, "This is a good luck Tootsie Roll, and I want you to have it." And I didn't feel like eating the Tootsie Roll, so I just put it in a little like little bag. And there's like I think two $2 bills in there, and then there's like a little crocheted whale.
Wow.
And I take that with me everywhere. But then the Tootsie Roll melted,
Oh.
but I refused to throw it away because it's like this little boy just I think I've talked about like the Tootsie Roll before in one of my videos, but like I don't know why I feel so attached to this Tootsie
Well,
Roll. But
I hope it's not too moldy, and I also hope that's not what gave you the anaphylactic reaction in Paris. Like, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe once it gets a bit rotten, it's starting to give you some reactions. You might need to look into that one.
I should.
Wow.
Anyway, I keep this Tootsie Roll whenever I go to big competitions, and it makes me happy.
Hey, if it works, it works. That's all we can say.
Right,
That's why we asked that
yeah.
question. What is a song that is on every one of your pre-competition playlists, no matter what?
Ooh, I think these boots are made for walking.
Good song. Yes. Great song.
Yeah.
I like that. No, I don't have any follow-ups. I'm blown away with what a good song choice it is. I wouldn't expect people of your age, Levi, to be listening to classics like that, but that is a great song. Good choice. What is the most unexpected or funny DM that you've gotten as an Olympian?
Mm, I think probably I have like a really good toe point, and I'm known for my toe point in gymnastics. And I've had like so many people saying such specific things about my feet and asking for feet pics. So
Wow.
probably that. Um, but yeah, obviously I'm not gonna give them to anyone, so I'm sorry. But
That's
yeah, just like some interesting comments about that.
I mean, there's so many levels of wrong, but also just weird.
Yeah, I know.
And
I know, it's so weird.
do you just ignore them? Like, I mean, do you like thanks but no thanks?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what
I
would you
just
even
ignore
say?
them. Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
Note to people listening and watching: stop sending Levi
Yeah.
messages about feet. All right. Okay. Quentin Tarantino's out there. Just stop it. It's not right. What is? Well, that's why I love asking that question, because the answers we get are very surprising. What is the weirdest thing that you've ever eaten at an international competition, and did you like it?
Ooh, weirdest thing. Um, Probably, I don't know. There were some really weird things that I ate in Cairo
Hmm.
when I went on an international assignment there. And they made, like, I don't know what was going on, but my digestion was not doing so well after I was eating whatever was there. Cause, yeah, I think I don't know. I literally couldn't even name what it was. It was just something weird.
It was
And
something that
then
made your
it
stomach
was
not like
something
it.
weird. Yeah. What else? I don't know. I loved the chocolate muffins at the Olympic Village.
Well,
I
I had to. I
love
was
them.
going to ask because I saw the video, and that's obviously a talking point. But my follow up on that was going to be: we heard that the tiramisu was also very good, and no one's talking about it.
Ooh.
Did you try the tiramisu at
I
the
didn't
village?
try it. This is
Ah,
such a
well, I got to
shame.
go back. Got to go back to Paris, see if they've got
Yeah.
the village right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's the viral muffin, which I mean,
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if it was made by a specific company, like if their little shop now in
I
Paris is
know.
just going gangbusters. I have no idea, but
I
yeah.
know. I don't know what they put in those, but there's something magical for sure. I like smuggled out some to give to my parents and brothers that were with me in Paris, and they like them. My little brother devoured it. He loved it. So I don't
If,
know.
if the little brother
Something
likes it,
magical happened within those muffins. I can
yeah,
tell you that.
they hopefully know
Mhm.
things that made you allergic. Of course, that's one thing you got to hope with that one. Speaking of meals, what is your ultimate guilty pleasure meal after a big competition?
Guilty, like after a competition or before?
Let's go with after. So you finished competing,
Okay.
you got some time
Yeah.
off. What are you going to eat?
That's hard. Probably sushi.
Mm,
Like going to Katsuya, there's like this really good sushi place at like near my house, and my family goes there sometimes, and they have the like crispy rice spicy tuna, and it's so good. So probably that. It's delectable.
works. Shout out to them as well. They can. I mean, are they
Yeah.
jump on
Thank
board
you,
as a sponsor or?
Katsuya, sponsor me, or at least just give me free spicy crispy tuna rolls, like,
She's got
and I
a
will
million likes
be
on
forever.
TikTok. Come on, she should be getting free sushi.
Please.
Come on.
Please.
You know who her parents are? Come on. Seriously, if you could swap sports for a day with another Olympian, what event would you choose and how do you think you would do?
I really want to try like sharpshooting.
Yes.
I feel like looks so interesting. But also, like, I'm obsessed with Tom Daly, so I think I would want to just be like doing what he does. And
Just
I don't think I would
diving.
be very good at it, but
But it's that transition. So many like
yeah,
gymnasts and diving,
yeah.
right? Like it works.
I maybe I'd be okay at it. I think I would be like average, maybe.
The one
I don't know.
the one I'll ask, because we have a habit in this country of all of our good gymnasts end up doing aerial skiing. So we're pretty good at aerial skiing, right? Because all our gymnasts go there.
Yeah.
Ever tempted maybe after, you hang up the leotard to maybe strap on some skis and do some aerial skiing at all?
You know what? Sure.
Why not?
I'm down to do whatever, right? Like I'll try anything. My little brother does pole vaulting, and
Hey,
I went and tried pole vaulting with him, and I wasn't very good at it, but I think I could be if I tried hard.
it's all about that training, Levi, as you said, right? You
Right.
committed 6 days a week, boom. We could be talking to you
Yeah,
as
there you go.
multiple gold medalists in gymnastics, turn it into aerial skiing, pole vault, diving, sharpshooting.
Just everything.
Yeah, exactly. You just tick them all off. That's what I say. If your Olympic
Yes.
journey, and this is actually an interesting one to ask considering who your parents are. If your Olympic journey were a movie, what would the title be and who would play you? And you've got connections in this question, so I feel like you can answer this one well.
Ooh, title of my movie would probably. Ooh, I feel like it has to be like something like ridiculous, like kind of like how Full Out, or like I don't know, like Flip It or something, like something like stupid.
That's a good one. What was it?
And
Stick It was a
then-
gymnastics movie, so we have Stick It, then Flip
Yes.
It. Hey, that works.
Yes, there you go. And then who would play me? Maybe. Ooh, wait. Maybe like Jenna Ortega. I
Yes.
love her. Or who else? I don't know. Olivia Rodrigo, because she's Filipino.
Great answer.
Yeah, those are my two answers. I'm trying to think of like I know who like looks like me. So
It's easy to cast your
Yeah.
parents, though, right? Because you would just cast your mum and dad as your mum and dad.
Oh, yeah.
You'd want to hope
Exactly.
so.
Right.
They'd be a bit pissed off if
So
all of
then
a sudden they missed
hypothetically,
that.
couldn't I just cast myself
Well, I
as
mean-
myself?
Do it. Why not? You know? Robbie Williams basically cast himself as himself in his own biopic, so you could do the same. Why not? You know? That just do it. Again, you got the connections, Levi. You've got them. You can do that. What is the one? I'm always scared of this question, but also excited at the same time. What is the one question you're tired of being asked, and what is the one you wish people would ask you instead?
Ooh, wait, that's it. I've never been asked that question.
Well, there you go.
See, maybe that's the question that I wish that more people would ask me.
Winner, chicken dinner,
Okay,
Levi.
there.
You're making me feel good with
And
that one.
Something that I don't like being asked.
That's where I get scared because if I've asked you this question,
No, I'm trying to think. Probably just like, I think sometimes when people don't know a lot about gymnastics, if they ask like a question about a skill that's it kind of doesn't really make sense to me. And like I know they're trying to like say something, but then it just feels like hard to answer, like weird to answer. Like I don't know, something I don't really know. I don't think there's any like questions that I don't like answering.
okay.
Because I feel like there's always something new that I can share when I answer a question. Maybe just like when people at my school always ask me, like, can you do a flip right now? Like, can you do the splits? Like,
Well, there goes my next question.
I
want to ask
can.
that one then. So
I
there
can.
goes that. Thanks for that one.
Thanks.
I mean, as a gymnast, people are going to want to say, do a flip. So
Yeah.
no, not that simple. Like she's got to be ready for it, people. Right? No feet pitches and stop asking for flips. All right. That's what we're getting out of this one. Last one for you, Levi, and it's a deep one, but it's a meaningful one at the same time. What's one lesson that you have learnt more from losing that has shaped you more than winning?
I think something that I learned, and also like since coming to college, we read this book like called by Andre Agassi, and he's a tennis player, and I think like a lot of what he was saying in his book really related to me in terms of like there's so many more times where you're probably going to be like failing or like having struggles, and it sucks, like it's not fun, but to me it's those moments which make the success so much more rewarding, and like I'm actually able to feel the benefits of the success and the benefits of the achievement, because if I didn't have all those times where I crashed or I got hurt or I failed or I burnt out or I had awful meat, those feelings of just absolute loss make the feelings of winning so much 1,000 times more rewarding, because if I was winning all the time, like I just would not feel how impactful it was to me because I wouldn't know what the losses felt like. And so just remembering when I have those losses that it's a feeling that I'm okay to have, because I know that having that bad feeling means that I can do better, and that when I do better, I'm going to be able to reflect back on the bad times and know that I was able to get through that and not let myself down.
Fantastic answer. Love that. That's why we like to close with that. Now, I was always skeptical when we close out with that it was like, was this too deep? But now we're discovering it's the best way to like bookend the interview,
Yes.
Levi, because it's just like, yes,
Yeah.
inspiration. That's what we want. Move forward. As I've said, obviously big social media presence. People out there who are listening, watching right now, they want to follow you on social media, stay up to date with your journey between now and LA and beyond. Tag yourself. Where can people follow you?
Yes, so you guys can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's just my full name, Levi Jung-Ruivivar. That's LeviJung-Ruivivar. Sorry for the long name. But that's yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. That's mostly where I do my posts. I also have Facebook and Twitter, or now it's called X. I sound like an old person. No offense if you still call it Twitter. Wait, don't cancel me,
Wow,
please.
you just offended me too,
No,
Levi. Oh,
please.
jeez, what's
Sorry,
going
sorry.
on? This interview was going so well, and yet to
It's
say
okay.
that
I'm
again.
an old person at heart. It's
Good.
okay.
Well, again, you like Nancy Sinatra, so you can't exactly take that away. Levi, this has been such an honor to learn about your journey and everything else in between. And we, of course, will get you back on in the lead up to LA, where we know you're going to go into some great things and beyond. We wish you the best of luck with everything that's going on in your life right now, and fingers, toes, and everything crossed for the future, and all those gold shiny medals that will be around your neck post LA.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.